This is the Art of Living Well Radio Network. Radio to inspire enlightened living. You're listening now to The Sterling Spin with Liz Sterling.
Joining me now, Anthony J.W. Benson. He is a transformational teacher, writer, speaker, and creative business strategist who's worked closely with leaders in the human potential field. He is the founder of Deeper Well Publishing and a popular guest on many radio and television shows throughout the United States. Welcome to our program.
Hello, Liz. How are you? Good to be here
I am
with you.
Wonderful. How are you today?
I'm fantastic now that I get to share the air with you. Thank you so much for having me as a guest.
Yes, for sure. I'm really excited that you're able to join us because there's something that you do, and that is you find that essence within individuals, and then you cultivate that, cull it, and bring it forth and help others to have an opportunity to know them and meet them. You yourself have a very fascinating background, and I'd love for you to share with us and give us an overview about your epic journey, quote unquote, if you will, which is what you wrote in the little blurb that you said to me, and I was like, we've got to talk about this epic journey.
Well, it indeed has been epic for me, and not unlike many people in life. You know, we have challenges and adversities to overcome, and you know, no one's is worse or better than anyone else's, but it's an individualized process that we experience. And so mine was such that I overcame a lot of adversity and a lot of moving, a lot of family discord, an early life of drug addiction and alcoholism, and just generally waywardness and not knowing what to do with my life. And I was really in a position of contemplating death before I had even hit my 20th birthday. And that's no place for anybody to be, obviously. And through a set of miraculous scenarios and situations, worldly and otherworldly, and personal, and with important people who stepped into my life, I made a conscious choice to shift my life and change my life and save my life, quite honestly. It allowed me to be reborn anew in terms of who I was meant to be, and own the totality of my being in a way that I was discarding with such anger and dysfunction in my young life. And so when that shift happened, enabled me, you know, with a clear mind and a cleaner body, to be able to embark on a path of evolution, my own process of personal growth, and an understanding in that process of the things that mattered to me and what I wanted to connect into, both in terms of my physicality, in terms of my mind, my spirituality. And so that process allowed me to go deeper into the arts, which had always been of interest to me, both music and aesthetics, and just kind of the makeup of all things that communicated to other people. And so the process of getting deeper into that enabled me to understand what my gifts were. And my gift has always been about championing others and banging the drum on others' behalf. And I'm a real fan of shining the light on the talents and expertise and knowledge of people that have something to offer, and that's all of us. All of us have something to offer, and it's just a matter of us kind of turning into our passion pool and understanding what it is we want to share. It's a part of my work, both through the music business, which I was deeply and continue to be involved with, as well as now the publishing world, and my role as a consultant in the realm of creative business, is that I want to bring out the best in everybody, and I want the world to be able to see and hear what people have to offer. And there's nothing more exciting than people really owning their talent, owning their knowledge, owning their gifts, and proudly sharing them with the rest of the world.
Wow. So it sounds to me like you are seeing the best in others and you help to bring that forth so that their talents can also shine in the world. And really it's as if all of us get to stand on this great stage of life together rather than just shining the light or one or two. That's how I see you doing it. But Anthony, the name of your company is Deeper Well Publishing. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. So what is this about the Deeper Well?
Well, the Deeper Well is an opportunity to literally, in the mind's eye, in the soul space, in the place within you that wants to explore and to understand more, is to go deeper, and that I believe the riches are in the deeper parts of the well. And the tagline to the company is exploring the depths of health, consciousness, and spirituality. Those elements are really important to me, and there's so much that can come under the umbrella of those touchstones. And so Deeper Well really endeavors to explore those aspects of life and thought, and so the books and the authors and the eventual subjects that we'll touch on will cover that. But I think also it's more of an action kind of mindset of the willingness to go deeper into ourselves, a willingness to explore at levels that perhaps we hadn't before, really enables us to grow. There's nothing better for me. I'm a real knowledge junkie, to be sure, is that I love learning, and part of having a publishing company enables me to offer material for others to learn from, and that's really exciting.
DeeperWellPublishing.com is the website, and my guest is Anthony J.W. Benson, and we met at the BEA in New York City. We just connected, and it felt like a kinship, and it was a really wonderful connection. And last week you introduced me to, and our listeners, to Cindy Dale, who is one of the authors that you represent. So tell us about this publishing world and representing authors and how it works and what's happening, because I think the publishing industry is really changing. When I met you, I kind of labeled you as a boutique, publicist, publishing company, because you have some real deep hands-on care. So give us an overview of all these things that I've just said, being the publisher, the changing of the industry, the nurturing the talent in others, the being a strategist. There you go.
Would love to, and thank you for that. We did connect, and it was so fun to, in the whirlwind of New York, we were there, Cindy and I and a business partner, Will Reynolds, at BEA to receive an award for the first book that I did for Deeper Well with Cindy. It was the Intuition Guidebook, and we were very blessed to have received an IPPY Award, an Independent Publishers Award, for that book. And it was an opportunity to come out to BEA and kind of tune in and be a part of the publishing world at large. But to answer your question more specifically, what I think is really the gift in publishing world is, like I referenced earlier, is to bring forth information that holds interest for readers. And though the industry is changing, to be sure, I don't think the experience of holding a book in your hand is going to change completely anytime soon. Mind you, the Kindles and the iPads of the world and the way for technology to service in our kind of fast-paced world and getting us information in the ways that we want it is fantastic. And do I use those elements? I do. But there's something about the tactile experience of holding a book, interacting with it on an energetic level that I think is hard to beat. So Deeper Well will continue to publish books in both realms, both in the finished product of an actual book as well as electronic versions. And Cindy, being the author whom you had on last week, is someone that is a business partner whom I also manage, and I've had the good fortune and blessings to be involved with her life for, 16 years. I was actually a publicist at another publishing company for her first book, and that's how we met. And it was a real experience to kind of tap into a different realm of consciousness with the type of books and chakras and energy that Cindy's world was communicating. So our ability to kind of tap into together both in terms of functionally honoring her work and bringing it forth to the world through a publicity realm, also enabled us to get to know one another better. And we eventually taught together with one of my companies, Enjoy, and through that our lives went different directions. She had children. I was off on the coast doing different things out west. And lo and behold, at another like-kind function to BEA, INATS, which is the International New Age Trade Show in Denver, probably, I guess, close to 7 years ago, we bumped into one another literally in the halls of that, not unlike how you and I met. And we reconnected, and I said, what's going on with your career? And she had, at the time, books out with another publisher, and I was such a fan, and still am, obviously, of what she is able to communicate and share with the world because of her vast knowledge, passion, enthusiasm, truly being one of the best energetic, medicine people in the world.
Right.
It was such an honor to be able to get involved at a deeper level with her company.
Yeah, and she was so much fun. Cindy Dale, I had her on the air last week, and we had great fun together, and the work that she's doing is wonderful. Anthony, let me ask you a question. I don't want to cut off the story, but I'm like kind of, excited here because
jump in as you need.
You have your finger on the pulse, I believe, of what's going on in the publishing industry. Do you call yourself an agent? Are you an agent? Are you a consultant? I know some people who are, they've got some great materials. Should I send them in your direction for publishing?
That's a legitimate question and a great question for, I wear many hats, which is kind of an interesting thing being in business for myself. And have I agented? I have many times, and obviously I have served with other publishing houses because Cindy is not only on Deeper Well, but she's also with Sounds True and now through a buyout with Random House. So I have agented all of her books in the last 7 years that are not Deeper Well. I don't call myself an agent, though. It's something that I've done through the years because I started out in the music business when I was 17 as a booking agent. So I understand agency, I understand the art of the deal and putting things together and representing the best interest of all involved. So can I and do I? Occasionally. But my real role is as a consultant because to your term of having a finger on the pulse, what I endeavor to do is really understand what the needs of every individual are and how can we uphold the highest level of integrity for their work and execute it at the highest level. So in this case, if it's a book, I want to figure out, one, if Deeper Well is the right fit. Is it something that I can connect into? Is it fit within the realm of health consciousness and spirituality? Is the author someone whom I am connected to and want to champion? But even if it's not Deeper Well, my author services allow me with my back end through printing and manufacturing and art and development and design and sales can help any author as well who perhaps wants to self-publish or wants to go out on one of our other imprints. So the ability to help people is always there, and that's really my calling. I mean, it's not unlike you. Your calling is to help share the message of others as well as your own, and that's a wonderful gift to be able to have that. And so I really do see it as a gift to champion others and to ring the bell on their behalf. And publishing is just one aspect of people's creativity, but there's a lot of ways that I can help people above and beyond that.
I want to send people in your direction. So Anthony J.W. Benson, he's a transformational teacher, writer, speaker, and creative business strategist. And he's worked closely with leaders in the human potential field for over 30 years. He's a founder of Deeper Well Publishing, and he's a popular guest on many radio and television programs, and you can meet him online at deeperwellpublishing.com. So speaking of new people, you have new artists that you work with, and new people that you cultivate, and you help to bring them forward in the work that they're doing. You've written 2 articles. The first one was called The Recovery of Self. The second one is Living Authentically. I'm sure you've written many other articles as well, but I'm more interested in this one called Living Authentically. What does it mean for you to live an authentic life?
Wow. Well, I think it's really being in truth. And I think, if we remain open, one of my mantras is being open to being open, and that I really It's a tenet that I live by. And I believe that acceptance of where we come from and a true openness to our future allows us to revel in the possibilities of our lives. And so that cornerstone for me allows me to really live authentically, because being open and an acceptance of who I am, where I come from, a clear understanding of where I'm going, allows me to be in truth. And truth is different from different people, to be sure, but I do know that the authentic life is one that is open, that is heart-centered, that is truth-filled, and is really committed to the process of personal growth.
Mm-hmm.
Personal growth for everybody is different, of course, right?
Right.
But it is a commitment to whatever that process is, because I really believe, we're all spiritual creatures, and we're blessed, really, with a life that I believe we're responsible to. So if we honor that gift, we in turn honor ourselves.
Beautiful. We have a very beautiful, wonderful woman who has blessed our community who's calling in, and she definitely is committed to living an authentic life and to serving others. My friend is now on the line, and someone who you know too, Anthony. Hello, madame.
Hi, Anthony. You may or may not remember me. It's Margaret Ann Lefko.
It's Margaret behind door number 3. Hello.
I am behind door number 3 and 7 as well.
Beautiful. Good to hear your voice again.
Thank you. I wanted to say hello, and I was so happy to see you and Liz in a picture together on Facebook with that after party, and I was like, whoa, what a small world, and it's just, kindred spirits all around,
Indeed. Thank you.
Margaret, thanks for calling in. You have really been in service to our community also, and letting people know that there's a need for some help and support. I just think we can take a minute here and put a call out for people to go to websites so that they can learn about how we can all be part of community and helping others who are in need. Do you want to take a moment?
Sure, absolutely. I'll just do it really briefly. A dear friend of my own and of the community, Dr. Lynn Migdal, a local chiropractor, her whole entire family was buried in a landslide in British Columbia, and we are all gathering together to our resources and our support and our love and prayers. And so if anybody wants to help, it would be wonderful, either by going directly to her office if you're local and enjoy a massage there and book an appointment for the future with her as a holistic healer, and visit www.helpsupportlynn.com. Thank you. That was nice. I wasn't expecting to do that, so thanks for asking, Liz. I was just going to see. I wanted to see if Anthony had any special words of wisdom or inspiration for me. I'm a little selfish, aren't I?
I'm grateful that you're asking him, because you really represent, hundreds of thousands of people who are speaking to a strategist who helps authors and musicians and entrepreneurs. So you really represent all of us. So thank you for asking the question. Anthony?
Well, I don't know. Is there a specific question that you have that I can help you with?
I always willing and open to knowing if there's any super duper special way that an author who is relatively new in the industry should continue to expand their platform, or any P's and Q's they should watch to make sure they do a good job in their process of becoming a great author.
Well, I think, one, that's an important question for lots of people, because now with the advent of all this technology and the resources that are available to so many to get their literal words out to others, whether it's on demand or through ebooks or through the printed word, there's a lot more authors kind of coming out into the light. And I think that is both exciting and important and valuable, and also potentially dangerous. And what I mean by that is that there is this flood of information, and I think it's hard for people that are creating the work as well as those who are taking it in to kind of sift through it in a way that serves the higher good of all. And so what I can say to those who are creating it, that it's really important to do the work. And the work is being responsible to what it is you're sharing, being responsible to the higher vision of what you're information is that you are offering. And I think it's also working through your stuff, if it's there, of being free within yourself to take risks. So many people think taking risks is foolhardy, and I'm an advocate of taking risks. I think risks and taking them can be appropriate if they're deliberate, focused, and passionate, because what risk really allows us to do is it releases us from the shackles of fear, and it delivers into the freedom of our true selves. And when we do that, that's the integral piece of creating a life we want and, more important, we deserve. And so when we take those risks in our art, in our creative realm, say in this instance publishing, we have to learn all those pieces that really support the choices that we're making. So understand what it is to write clear and conscious sentences. Understand what it is to put the book together with a sense of aesthetics and style that marry well with what you're putting together. Understand what social media is. Understand what publicity is. Understanding what marketing and promotion and how to actually utilize websites. There is a vast world of knowledge out there, and there are many people, not unlike myself, who can help you kind of sift through the muck of it and figure out how to put those pieces into play. Because truthfully, all this is a big puzzle, and these pieces that are available to us, we can grab onto them and put together these pieces in a way that makes sense and serve the higher good. It's complicated, as you well know.
Yeah.
It's difficult, as you well know. But being passionate, being committed, being tenacious, and working from a place of integrity and truth will get you a long, long way. And reaching out, not unlike what you do and what others do, is reaching out and building a team. Going this alone is not fun. It's hard to transcend mediocrity by yourself when you're doing this, because it's such a big project, bringing yourself out into the world in this manner. So I really always champion people to seek others who believe in them, that can bring their skill set to the party and can help you on multiple levels.
That was great. Wow. Really very, very thorough answer to the question. And Margaret, you are the epitome of someone who has really done that. You've created a platform. Hey, how about I interview you next week?
Okay. I'm always ready for an interview.
Okay, well, let's set that up. I'm going to go back to Anthony. Margaret Lembo, Crystal Garden here in Boynton Beach, Florida, and spearheading the helpsupportlynn.com website on Facebook here. And thank you, Margaret, for calling in today.
You're welcome. Thank you, and enjoy
Thanks,
the rest of it. Bye, Anthony. Nice to hear you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
It's so nice to have new friendships and new relationships, and really that's, Anthony, what really Margaret really represents, and so do I, that we are attractors in this world right now. You really said something that I thought was very poignant, and that is you can have a great platform, you can have a great idea. You also have to be in integrity to being authentic and living you're walking your talk and living your truth, because you can't do one without the other. That's what I heard you say.
That you're absolutely right. I think there's a lot of information out there, and I think the information that many of us connect into is the one that is coming from a place of authenticity and is really reflecting the essence of the person that's sharing it.
There is a lot of information. There's a ton of information. There's an information glut, and I'm not saying good or bad, because Cindy really helped me last week to change my consciousness on it. I had said to her, oh my gosh, there's so much, too much, overwhelming, and I don't say that anymore, but there is a lot. How does someone who has an idea or a vision to bring forth their work through a book, if you will, how do they discern whether or not it's book worthy? Are there any, questions that we ask ourselves?
Well, I think there are. I mean, I think, we have to be honest with ourselves, and I think it's important for us to trust others who have our highest interest in mind as well for feedback. I do a lot of focus testing, even along the process with people that are clearly talented and have had a history of successful work. I think it's important to hone in on really how can you sharpen, how can you really bring into focus what the message is, and do it in a way that is both in integrity, professional, executed at a high level, but also serves the end user. That's what's really important. And I think we have to step away from our ego. Being a writer for the sake of being able to call oneself a writer doesn't really serve anybody other than it's another thing you can put on your title. And I think also, though, we all have the ability to be a writer. The writing, it's like an art, as in music, is in the eyes and ears of the beholder in terms of what is good and what is not good. There are many popular authors out there in the world whom, many writers would claim are not talented writers. But sometimes it's not about the technical aspect. It's kind of like the guitar solo that is filled with emotion but not technically proficient that still speaks to you. It's not unlike that in any art. It doesn't have to be technically proficient in order to hit the heart. To enliven the soul. What it really needs to do is come from a place of authenticity. It's kind of what we're circling back to. So the message in all this is to tell your truth, whatever that is. An audience will be there for you if you execute on all the levels that really reflect and honor that practice. It may not be a New York Times bestseller, but there's no less value in the ebook that's sold for $5 to a few people through places like Amazon than a book that is put out by a major publishing house, sold for $30, and is on the New York Times bestseller list.
That's good to hear.
The difference is really in how it affects the reader. Because if there's a reader who is connecting to it, then job done.
I watch some of the reality shows for music, and this season I kept on hearing over and over and over again, and I don't know if it was just the message that I was picking up on, and that is you got to put your heart into it, and people have to feel you feeling into it. And it seems to me that as a society and as a culture, we are making that proverbial journey from our head to our heart. And we're awakening to live our truth and our passion and our essence and to bring it out into the world. And, I say, tapping into our skill set and our talents and creating a team and then making contact with people such as yourself who can help to strategize these gifts and talents that we have is really something that I think is a great science of what really works in this life, and it's the ultimate blending of science and spirituality. Anthony J.W. Benson, our guest on the Sterling Spin, and you can learn more online at deeperwellpublishing.com. You also are a musician, and I know you have a music site as well. I'd like you to put that out and just kind of wrap us up, if you will, on some statement that you made about trusting the universe and trusting oneself by jumping into the deeper end of the pool of life, and we'll kind of wrap it up there. So
great, thank you.
Yeah.
The music site is Enjoy Music, INJOI music.com, and that is just another portal that allows some information to be shared about my work as a producer and a consultant in the music world, and you can go there to learn much more. Any and all of what we're talking about is really about bringing stuff from the deeper part of our being. And there's this great quote by the wonderful poet Rumi. When you do things from your soul, you feel a river moving in you, a joy. That joy is really best experienced, I feel, when we do jump into the deepest heart of the pool. It's trusting that we know how to swim and knowing that the ability to kind of push ourselves into realms that maybe we didn't give ourselves permission to before are completely possible, that anything is possible, that our ability to express, to share, to enliven ourselves and enliven others in that process of shared connectivity, sharing of our creativity, sharing of our being is so important. And E.E. Cummings, one of my favorite writers, said, "We do not believe in ourselves until someone reveals that deep inside us something is valuable, worth listening to, worthy of our trust, sacred to our touch. Once we believe in ourselves, we can risk curiosity, wonder, spontaneous delight, or any experience that reveals the human spirit." I'm a champion of the human spirit. All the work that I do is really there to serve others and to bring forth what what others want to offer the world. And I am gifted and blessed that I have the opportunity to work with well-known people and not so well-known, but all of whom are extremely creative and have something to offer.
Truly a gift and a blessing, both at the same time. Thank you so much. The E.E. Cummings quote you just read actually brought tears to my eyes. I know I always cry on the truth. I love the world that you've created for us to live more deeply. And thank you, my new friend, Anthony J.W. Benson, for showing up in my world. I feel blessed.
Thank you, Liz.
Thank you
as well.
for joining us today on the Sterling Spin. Thank you all for tuning in.